You know that feeling when you're alone in the woods and suddenly everything goes quiet? No birds, no wind, just this heavy silence that presses against your eardrums. Jason Reynolds squeezed Lisa's hand as their SUV bounced onto the abandoned Forest Service road, both of them giddy with the thrill of their little rebellion. They hadn't told their families about this trip, hadn't even left a note. Just packed their gear after midnight like teenagers, sneaking out, leaving behind their stressful jobs and Lisa's overbearing mother who would have never approved of reckless wilderness adventures. The Texas sun beat down mercilessly through the windshield as the GPS signal finally died, exactly as Jason had hoped. No work emails, no annoying calls, he whispered, kissing Lisa's temple. Just us. The crunch of gravel beneath their tires was the only sound in the heavy afternoon silence, a silence so complete it should have been their first warning. Lisa snapped a quick selfie of them, both grinning, the dense pine forest stretching endlessly behind them. That photo would later show something terrible lurking in the trees over Jason's shoulder, something neither of them noticed in that moment of carefree excitement. Lisa rolled down her window, breathing in the pine-scented air. "It's so quiet out here," she murmured. "Too quiet. No birds sang, no insects buzzed. Just an oppressive silence that seemed to press in from all sides." As they set up camp near a small creek, Jason laughed at his own clumsiness with the tent poles. The sound echoed strangely in the still air. That's when they first heard it. A child's giggle, impossibly close yet seeming to come from everywhere at once. The forest around them suddenly felt different. The trees seemed to lean in closer. The fading sunlight took on a sickly yellow hue, and then they saw it, a cabin, old, weathered, with windows like black, empty eyes watching them. A cabin that hadn't appeared on any map. A cabin that shouldn't be there. What happened next would only be pieced together later from the couple's abandoned camera and journal entries. The door that creaked open on its own. The family inside, a gaunt man with sunken eyes, a woman humming a lullaby that hadn't been popular in 50 years, and 2 children who never blinked. The police search turned up nothing but a single terrifying clue, a newspaper from 1972 reporting the disappearance of the Miller family in these very woods. The same family Jason and Lisa described seeing in that cabin. To this day, hikers report strange occurrences in this stretch of forest. The sound of a woman screaming, the glimpse of a family standing among the trees, watching. And sometimes when the moon is full, an old cabin appears where no cabin should be, with its door invitingly ajar. The truth is far worse than anyone imagines, because the Millers weren't victims. They were never lost. They're still there, waiting, watching, and they always welcome new members to their family. So if you're ever driving through East Texas and your GPS suddenly fails, if you see a narrow dirt road that wasn't there before, if you hear children laughing in the silent woods, turn around, don't stop, don't look back, because once you see the cabin, it's already too late. Five friends vanished in the Texas woods playing a game they thought was harmless. What happened to them? Was it part of the plainer something far darker? This is the Texas Forest Horror Story, and it'll leave you questioning reality itself. It started innocently enough. 5 high school friends reunited after years apart planned a weekend getaway in the piney woods of East Texas. Emma, the planner, suggested a twist, a game called The Vanishing Hunt. The rules were simple. One person hides, the others search, and every hour someone new disappears into the woods to hide. The last one standing wins bragging rights. They laughed it off as a dumb, fun challenge. Little did they know the forest had other plans. Emma, if I vanish first, I'm haunting you. Night one, they drew straws. Mia went first. She grabbed a flashlight and darted into the trees, giggling as she disappeared. The others waited, sipping cheap beer and joking about how she'd trip over a root and lose in 5 minutes. They'll never find me here. An hour passed. No Mia. The group figured she was just really good at hiding. Tyler volunteered to go next. He smirked, grabbed a lantern, and vanished into the dark. Mia, you out here? This isn't funny anymore. By midnight, Mia and Tyler were still gone. The remaining 3 laughed it off at first. Mia was always dramatic, and Tyler loved pranks. But the laughter faded when they heard it. A low, guttural hum from the woods. Not human, not animal, something else. Guys, this is part of the game, right? They're messing with us? Yeah, totally. Let's find them. Mia? Tyler? Come on, this isn't funny. That's hers. Oh God, where is she? They called out for hours. No response. Just that hum louder now, vibrating through the trees. Jake decided he'd hide next, thinking it'd draw the others out. He kissed Sarah's forehead and bolted into the darkness. This is fine. It's just a game. By dawn, Emma and Sarah were alone. 3 friends gone. No footprints, no signs of a struggle, just Mia's jacket and an eerie silence. They clung to the idea it was still the game. But deep down they knew something was wrong. The forest wasn't empty. It was watching. We need to leave, Emma. This isn't fun anymore. Number. We stick to the plan. They'll come back. They have to. Here's where it gets twisted. As the sun rose, Emma smelled a faint, rotting stench drifting from the woods. She told Sarah it was just a dead animal, but it wasn't. It was the smell of death hand. It was closing in. Sarah, do you smell that? What is that? That's when they realized the game wasn't theirs anymore. Something else was playing. Desperate, they abandoned camp to search. Every step felt heavier, like the forest itself was pushing them deeper. The hum returned now, a chorus of whispers weaving through the pines. That's his, Emma. We're not alone out here. Keep moving. We'll find them. We have to. Emma grabbed the phone. She tapped the screen and her blood ran cold. It's not a game. It's here. Sarah begged to run, but Emma refused. She hid next, determined to end the gamma, whatever it had become. She kissed Sarah goodbye and vanished into the trees. Sarah waited. Hours bled into days. No Emma. No anyone. Just her and that smell, so thick she could taste it. She was the last one standing, but she didn't win. She lost everything. Who are you? What do you want? 5 friends disappeared in the piney woods last week. Authorities found their campsite abandoned, no bodies, no clues. Just this chilling recording. It's not a game. It's alive. The forest, it took us. But here's the twist. Days later, a hiker found something the police missed. Carved into a tree near the campsite 5 names. Mia, Tyler, Jake, Emma, Sarah. Below them a 6th name. Yours. Imagine losing everyone you love to something you can't see, can't fight. That's what those 5 felt hope, slipping away, replaced by dread. And now the forest knows you. Will you ever feel safe again? The Texas pines swayed in the wind like shadowy sentinels, their branches scraping against the roof of my grandfather's old hunting cabin. I'd come here with my brother Jake for a weekend of fishing and forgetting about Dad's funeral, forgetting about the hollow ache in my chest. Jake tossed another log into the wood stove, the flames casting flickering shapes on the walls. "You hear that?" he asked suddenly, his voice low. I paused, listening. The wind howled outside, but beneath it, something else. A rhythmic thumping, like footsteps circling the cabin. Probably just a deer, I said, though my fingers tightened around my beer bottle. Jake didn't look convinced. His eyes flicked to the window where the moonlit forest stretched endlessly. Deer don't walk on 2 legs. We tried to laugh it off, but then knock. A single deliberate rap on the front door. Jake and I froze. No one knew we were out here. No roads led this deep into the woods. "Hello," Jake called, voice steadier than mine would have been. Silence. Then, from the side of the cabin scratching, long, slow drags against the wood like fingernails. My breath hitched. We should call someone. Jake grabbed his hunting rifle. "And say what? That the boogeyman's paying us a visit?" The scratching stopped. For a moment, there was only the crackling fire and the pounding of my heart. Then Jake gasped. I followed his gaze to the window beside the door. Pressed against the glass was a face pale, gaunt, with sunken eyes that reflected no light. Its lips stretched into a grin too wide, too many teeth. It blinked. I screamed. Jake raised his rifle, but the thing darted away, vanishing into the trees. "What the hell was that?" I choked out. Jake's hands shook. "I don't know, but we're not staying to find out." We bolted for Jake's truck, the cold night air biting at our skin. The engine roared to life, headlights cutting through the dark. Then thud. Something landed on the truck bed. Jake slammed the gas. The tires spun in the mud before lurching forward. I turned, peering through the rear window. A hunched figure crouched on the tailgate, its elongated limbs twitching. It tilted its head, watching me with black, unblinking eyes. "Jake, it's on the truck!" He swerved violently, sending the thing tumbling into the road. But before I could exhale, it scrambled up, limbs moving all wrong, like a spider. And then it ran, not after us parallel, vanishing into the trees, keeping pace. The headlights flickered. The road ahead wasn't the one we came in on. Instead of gravel, there was dirt. Instead of pines, there were dead trees, their branches like skeletal fingers. "Jake, this isn't right," I whispered. He gripped the wheel. "I know." The truck sputtered. The gas gauge plummeted to empty. Then the engine died. Silence. From the woods, a chorus of whisper-shundreds of them, overlapping, hissing words I couldn't understand. Jake grabbed my arm. "Run." We sprinted into the forest, branches whipping at our faces. Behind us, the whispers grew louder, closer. Then I saw it, a single, flickering lantern in the distance. A cabin. Our cabin. "How?" Jake panted. I didn't care. We burst through the door, slamming it shut behind us. The fire still burned. Our beers sat where we left them, like we'd never left. Jake collapsed into a chair, laughing hysterically. "We're okay," We're knock. A familiar, deliberate rap on the door. The whispers outside grew to a crescendo, and then, from the window dozens of those same sunken faces, pressing against the glass, grinning, the door handle rattled. Jake met my eyes, his face ashen. We don't let them in. I nodded, gripping the rifle. The knocking turned to pounding. The glass cracked, and then silence. The fire snuffed out. The whispers stopped. The cabin was empty, except for us, and the thing now standing in the corner, watching, waiting. Sunlight streamed through the windows. Birds chirped. The forest was peaceful. Jake and I sat at the table, untouched beers in hand. Neither of us spoke, because on the door, carved deep into the wood, were 3 words. We were here. And outside in the mud footprints, leading away, but not human, not anymore. Did we imagine it? Or did something let us go? I don't know, but I hear the whispers every night now, and sometimes I swear they're calling my name,